It's so unbelievably quiet and peaceful here in a quiet, sleepy corner of Norfolk. And that's appropriate because the car that we've come to see today is a car that was born out of obsession by a Japanese brand. They wanted to make the most quiet, refined, effortless luxury saloon they could make with endless budget. But the car in question here has hardly done any miles, despite the fact they were notoriously able to cover hundreds of thousands of miles without any fault. This particular one's hardly been used in all of its 30-year life. So this is a Barn Find episode of The Late Break Show, and I'm Jonny Smith. So you've just seen that it's a Lexus, an LS400 in gold. This is the car that launched the Lexus brand back in 1989. Why is that exciting, you say? Well, because if you think Toyota were slightly obsessive when they built this, you probably don't even know the half of it. When Toyota decided to launch a new premium sub-brand, the LS400 of 1989 was its debut model, and it had to impress. Known internally as Circle F, F for flagship, this was the relentless pursuit of engineering perfection that led to numerous breakthroughs and refinements. Working without any budgetary constraints, it represented the work of 60 designers, 1,400 engineers split up into 24 teams, 2,300 technicians, and over 2,000 support workers. This was a new car development unlike anything the industry had ever seen before. And with about 250 horsepower, the LS400 wasn't about being the fastest, it was about giving Rolls-Royce feel, or above, for a fraction of the asking price and with far greater efficiency and attention to detail. Well, that was all over 30 years ago, but today the LS400 still stands as one of those automotive greats that was absolutely born out of obsession. They don't shout about it, but fewer cars do the refined large saloon game better than this. So Alistair, this is, let me get this right, this is not your car.
Not my car, belongs to my wife.
Okay, and it hasn't been hers from you?
She inherited it from her parents.
Okay.
So her father and mother bought it when the car was made, and then it was driven by them. Ivor, who's Jane's father, ex-RAF Hurricane pilot, he drove it mainly, but then when he died, and he died in 2004, his wife Audrey had it. And then Audrey moved in with us in 2007 and then sadly had a stroke in 2012. So she stopped driving it, obviously, when she had a stroke. So she would drive it down to the local pub for lunch. She'd have her lunch, a glass of wine, and then she'd stop at the local convenience store, buy a bottle of wine and her newspaper, and come back and spend the rest of the day drinking her wine and reading her newspaper.
Really?
And that's all it was used for.
So it never actually went on a long journey?
Never. I mean, that total distance there and back, just under 2 miles.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Which probably explains the mileage, which is ludicrously low, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to come and film it, because LS400s, they are a classic now, but they're not universally regarded as a sort of bona fide classic, but when they've done so few miles, and we know that these are capable of doing 1 million miles, you know, there's one in the States that's done over 900,000, I think.
Goodness me, I didn't know.
Yeah. So and because they were over-engineered in period, I don't doubt it for a second, but yet this thing hasn't broken a sweat.
No.
Well, what was interesting to me is you're a bit of a saloon man.
Yeah, I
yourself.
do. Yeah, I like cars.
So in next to the Lexus in the garage is a lovely XJR Jag, which is your beast.
That's my beast, 1999 XJR. Yeah. Nice car.
It's a really handsome car.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, lovely to drive. It's you can tell it's an older car.
Yeah.
To my mind, that shape, the 308, is the last of the classic Jaguars in my view.
Yeah.
And that's the fastest one, and it was designed to compete with M5s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's your son's car.
That's my son's car. That's not an M5, but it's a beautiful machine anyway.
Yeah.
I've driven it. It's a lovely car to drive. The difference in the chassis of that car and that car is colossal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now tell me about, so you have had some Japanese cars in the past?
I have, and I've driven this one as well. So I've driven this, I've done a couple of long journeys in this. I drove it down to South Wales with Audrey in the car.
Yeah.
And it's, you know,
Totally silent and effortless.
totally silent. Absolutely.
I think the point of this is it wasn't a driver's machine, it was just a flying carpet.
Yeah.
Everything had to be, you know, acoustically quiet, no effort on any of the controls. So in terms of condition, I mean, I've had a look round it. There are scratches,
Dings.
especially on the back.
Yeah.
Dings, but can't see any sign, thank goodness, of any rot.
No, I don't think so.
Because it's mostly been in there, so it's mostly dusty rather than rotten.
Yeah.
And these are Audrey related.
They are.
What should we say?
Yeah, Audrey-related damage. I don't want to be disrespectful of my mother-in-law. She was a wonderful woman. I loved her dearly, and I don't think many people love their mothers-in-law dearly, but I certainly loved mine. But this particular dent, I know full well where it's from. She drove into a skip that we had here, and I can remember having a discussion with her saying, "Audrey, you reversed into the skip," and she said, "No, the skip moved." And I said, "They don't have wheels, Audrey."
No, they can't move.
And she was very cross with me for saying that. But yeah, one or two dings caused by her late on. I mean, she's in her late 80s when she was driving this thing, so fair play to her. She could still drive perfectly well.
Today, this car is leaving your
Yep.
shed, which the swallows
Will be
were flying around our heads because they're trying to get into their nest in there.
Up there.
They're really cross with us. They'll be pleased about it.
Yeah.
This is you're selling it to your son.
Selling it to my son. Yeah, that's the plan. And then I think he's going to try and sell it on. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Well, we're going to give it hopefully, a good clean up and many digits crossed. I have every faith that it will start because it's a Lexus.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, I've never worked on an LS before because I've never known anyone with a broken one. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
See what happens to it. Yeah.
This is definitely the era of let's make an alloy wheel that looks just like a wheel trim. 225, 60, 16 tyres, really pillowy. So I've got some helpers with me. That's Callum who's actually bought this car. So this is now your car.
My car, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember it when you were younger?
Vaguely. I've mainly remember it sitting next to Dad's Jag in the garage.
Like this?
Like this, yeah. And thinking to myself, so having an idea about VIPing it and putting huge shiny rims on it, but then never really coming around to the idea.
Yeah.
And yeah, so now it's not going that way. It's going on a path to hopefully a condition that the mileage
Suggests.
is deserving of the mileage. Yeah.
And these two, you might recognise these two gentlemen from when we did the Kia Picanto Land's End trial. They were a pair of our friendly rivals in a Citroen AX.
Yeah.
You did really well.
Yeah, I think we were like 4.5 hours ahead of you in the end.
Yes,
Yeah.
I understand.
Still down as a DNF.
Yeah,
do the
because
final
we're
checkout.
yeah, because we're idiots.
You forgot to do the final.
So my parents live right by the finish line, but on the right hand side, and the Miners Arms where you meant to finish is on the left, and we peeled out and went, I don't like the Miners Arms, and went to a different pub.
And you didn't
Just
actually
parked up-
sign the paperwork
Yeah, so
which
yeah,
said we
yeah.
have finished.
Yeah, so because we'd signed out, so we'd said like, yeah, we're 241 at the top, and just went like, cool, we're done, and everyone was told to get out of the way. So we just shuffled off and went like, well,
Probably ready for bed after
Yeah,
38 hours awake or
I'll have a shower and go for a quick pint.
It's
And
good fun.
yeah,
That AX did surprisingly well.
yep.
Right, we're going to push this beautiful thing, which actually is lighter than I thought it was going to be. It's 1.7 tonnes, which in new car terms is not very heavy.
Well, triple alley skin, isn't it?
Shocking, really.
Yeah.
Shocking. Right,
Moves, right.
I'll push and then we'll...
I've got looking on the back there.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Oh. Oh, nicely damped. That's a slow opening, like those slow closed drawers in kitchens. It's a slow opening bonnet because it's probably never been open. So this is the 1UZ-FE 4-litre V8 4-cam 32 valve. It's one of the quietest engines, it's certainly at the time, one of the quietest running engines in existence. I am slightly nervous, but also hopeful, because if this doesn't run, I have absolutely no idea, and I mean no idea, how to work on these. There's not a lot of data, because they were honestly so highly revered. So, and this is only done, let's say, under 12,000 miles. Timing belt replacement maintenance record. It was replaced in 1999. Yeah, look at this thing. So this was all alloy, iron liners, 241, 242 horsepower. So not a lot of horsepower, but it was limited to 155 mile an hour, this car. So you're probably looking at the battery going, that looks a bit recent. Yes, this was put on about 8 weeks ago, simply to check whether, before we turned up, the ignition lights lit up and we had some action going on at the dashboard end, and we do. A mouse has been in here. You can see there's poo and nibble marks on the top of the struts here and here. But looking at the other pipes, I haven't seen any other mouse intervention, which is really good. I'm hopeful and I'm nervous that we could just check the fluids, and as long as you're all right with it, check the fluids, put 1 or 2 fresh gallons of unleaded, super unleaded in it, and go for a fire up. But yeah, if it doesn't fire up, I will have to consult some specialists, because I've never worked on a 1UZ engine at all. There's a lot of cladding, but I'm glad that the timing belt was changed at some point. So if this is to be believed, it was changed in 1999 at 4,201 mile, 1.6 miles. But we'll check. We've done the MOT history check, and we do think that this sort of 11,900 and something miles is kosher. So that's just no miles. I don't think you're going to need to put new oil in it. Check that out.
Let's have a look.
Oh my god.
That looks all right.
It's honey.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, today, if we fire it up, I'm just going to be, we're letting it idle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not going to be putting it under load, but that's amazing.
It's actually coming out.
Yeah.
Nice. Not too bad.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I've just put a dirty mark on it from my gloves.
Looks brand new.
That looks completely brand new. Also looks like something from a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
Not a car.
Circular as well.
Was this got a second catch just in case?
No mouse poops.
No,
lurking,
no,
which is
no.
good news.
That is really good news. No mouse plot.
Yeah.
No sign of any mice inside the car when you sat in it and turned the ignition.
Nothing. No noises. No squeaks.
Good.
Right.
I have flashbacks of the BMW.
No, that would have been good, wouldn't it? Just straight out the bottom, a little mouse.
Just a couple of, yeah. It's definitely, I mean, it's obviously done very little work, but
Yeah.
it's nobody clueless has gone near this engine bay until today.
Until today.
Until
exactly,
today.
Yeah.
Where I can put my hand up.
Not
and-
even a talented amateur over here. So,
No, this has just been mothballed, hasn't it? I'm trying to remember what my record of ease of getting a barn find car started. It might be that Mitsubishi Sapporo that I talked about, that lovely one up in Tyneside. That was very easy to start. I'm hoping this will be the same.
Fingers crossed.
And its Japanese engineering will be displayed.
Prowess.
Prowess, yeah.
The $1 billion that's sunk into this car.
Yeah.
All right.
So, fuel.
Fuel.
I just can't believe the spider activity around here. Now, I'm not actually intending to use the can of Hope in this particular car. We are just going to put fuel in it. I've made that executive decision based upon the mileage and the fact I know it's got a plastic fuel tank and etc, etc. but we've got to get the 10 litres of fresh fuel out of it in there, and it hasn't got a nozzle, but we found a funnel. Because we're clever people. So hopefully, can you be the funnel holder?
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I saw this many cobwebs. The thing about the LS400 for me is it's ultimate stealth wealth car. Doesn't shout at all. But you can't make the engine make any noise basically. But it does everything to a very high standard. The thing is, it's a V8, so when you do start it, you know, a gallon doesn't go very far on a cold start V8 really. But I also noticed there's a fuel station down the road, so we're not too remote, are we? Let's do a sweepstake. Hands up. Hands up if you think it's going to run just like this. Hands up.
First time. First time.
So I'm going to say first time. You're going to say.
I'm going to say turn it on. It'll take a while to prime itself and have a think.
Are we counting jumping it in this as well? No, we're going to have to jump it.
Yeah, it'll need a jump pack on it.
I've got a jump pack. That's fine.
I reckon first crack at the actual ignition will go. Yeah.
Okay, so hands up if you think it's going to run straight away then, with a jump pack.
I'll have to do this, don't I?
So that means,
Yeah,
do we
come
all?
on.
That's all of us.
I have to put my hand up.
We're all really confident here.
5 out of 5.
Yeah.
The honourable Lexus will do what it needs to do. Okay. Right, so jump pack is alive. I reckon, Callum, you leave it on the ignition lights for, I don't know, 10 seconds or so, see if the fuel primes.
Yeah.
Here the relays go.
Yeah. I'm so out of my comfort zone with an engine this modern. Shall we?
Should we try it?
Yeah.
All right.
No fire.
Try for longer.
Yeah.
Not having it.
No, that's no fire at all. Bums.
It's cranking all right though.
It's cranking really nice. Really nice. So we need to check whether fuel is coming in at this end, I think.
Scoot it in and then just grab some pliers. Oh. Nice.
Saw that coming. That go all the way through all of that?
I don't know.
This might be the first documented case of a Lexus not starting.
Not starting, yeah.
So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and find where the fuel line comes in from the fuel tank and see if it's priming and delivering petrol to the engine bay. If it is, then it's a problem up here. If it's not, it's a fuel pump problem, and then we've got to work out whether we can use my can of hope and bypass that, or whether the Lexus will have an ECU which has a hissy fit when it doesn't know. It won't give you a spark because it doesn't think the fuel is working. Does that make sense? And this is a grey area for my knowledge. Unless, 8 litres of fuel doesn't even touch the sides, but I think it probably would. Yeah, so again, we could take that off. We could spray a little bit, mist a bit of fuel into there, into the mouth of and see if it splutters. And if it splutters, it's not a spark issue.
Well, we've got an inline fuel filter. Get it up, because that might have just filled with whatever detritus in the bottom of the tank.
Yeah, it might have done. I don't know how vocal the fuel pumps are on LS400. You see, the fuel pump might be so
being them, it'd be so quiet. Yeah, you can't hear it tick.
I mean, I don't know if access is under the seat like a lot of saloons to the fuel tank.
It is, yeah.
So we could go in through there and have a gander with a torch. Right, so it wasn't me that thought about this. It was actually Alistair, Callum's dad, who said, I wonder if it's to do with an immobiliser. Did a little bit of surfing online, and sure enough, we think the battery in the key fob for the starter key is dead, which means the key goes in the hole and you can turn the ignition, but it cuts the fuel because it's an immobiliser. And sure enough, we think that might solve the problem, which would explain why we're not even getting a splutter. So they've gone into town to get a very specialist little battery, 12 volt little thing, and we've looked up the procedure of how to do it. While I'm waiting, I'm going to start degunking the Lexus. Sun's out, got some cleaning gear, going to get rid of all these webs. Don't want to introduce water until I've got all this detritus out, because I think it will be a false economy. It'll all turn to slime. Before I forget, if you've got a car that's on your drive in a real garage or in a real barn and you think it could be of interest to me to film, get in touch with us. There's an email address in the description of this video. Send us some photos, send us a backstory, and I might come and pay you a visit. Please make it a really simple car that I can start really easily. That's all right. This really surprises me. I've just been getting all the webs out of the door shuts, and down there in the stamping of the metal doors, it says Toyota in quite big letters, which is visible. And yet they went to such lengths with the Lexus to differentiate the brand from Toyota. That really does surprise me. But I'm not that bothered, because I'm just in awe of the preservation of the interior of this thing. I haven't had a close look at the interior yet, but it's really good. Slightly mouldy in places, but it looks good. There is a lot of dust in this car. This might be the dustiest barn find I've done. If I get a chance, I'll give it a little vacuum out, but look at the size of the boot. You forget how practical saloon cars are, because we've all sort of stopped buying saloons. They're in danger of extinction. This was the Lexus in '89. I am sure it was the first car to come with a CD changer as standard. 6-disc, and it still works. There's one CD, The National Trust, In the Mood, a great collection of 40s big band favourites. That obviously doesn't date the driver at all. And what's this one? Moonlight Serenades. Yeah, brilliant. And then that, so you put 6 CDs in that, there you go, 6-disc multiplay. And besides that, you've got a toolkit on that side, and up here, got a lovely little hatch, which has a lovely emergency pull for the fuel door if the solenoid fails, but it's even got a little piece of Velcro on the back so it doesn't slap onto the plastic. I mean, I always have a look under the carpets in cars, especially when I'm buying them. You always look for accident repair, trap moisture, obviously rot. But look at it under here. I mean, the jack's never been out. Everything's quite bright. Full-size spare, remember those days? Warning triangle. This is a lovely, lovely time warp of a car, this. This is as good as cars got in the 90s. In terms of saloon, effortless silent power. Look, if this is a disappointing snow foam routine, it's because unfortunately this pressure washer just keeps kicking in and out. No offence to Nilfisk, but it's not working properly. And my Karcher, I left a vital component at home because I came back late from another job, and I'm a fool and I'm being punished for it. given it a good wash, and the sun's still out, you can see that it's really nice bodywork. I mean, there's the bumpers at the front and back have had the hardest life. And there's only a few little dings on it, and I reckon if we were to spend the rest of the day machine polishing it and having it properly paint corrected, I think it would look absolutely glorious. So this is probably the worst part, this skip incident and this back bump here, which has still got some algae in it, but obviously it's lost some paint, and the UV has killed it a little bit on the top. But I mean, if you were to do that, machine polish it, spend some time properly paint correcting it, I think it would be a wonderful thing. I've had a crawl underneath. I can't see any rot at all. Some of the subframes have got surface flaking on them, but I mean, if you were to dry ice blast the engine bay on this and spend a couple of £100 on pulling the dings and things, that would just be... And the interior is just... it's gorgeous. Oh, it's so nice in here. So, acoustically, one of the obsessions of Lexus was this has to be the quietest car in the world. I think they tilted the engine back slightly in its engine mounts in order to get the prop shaft to line up even better, so there was less sort of harmonic vibration through the system. The other thing it claimed to be the first car in the world to have welded in soundproofing material within the skins of the construction of the car, the metal skins, in the bulkhead, and I think also in the roof. Although this is a steel car. We've connected the battery up and everything seems to work. You've got adjustable electric seat belt mounts, which are on the door down there. Obviously you've got the tilting steering column, which is really awesome and goes away from you. That was a world first with an airbag, apparently. And then you've got the awesome sound system, which we've seen in the back. You've got the premium 6-disc multi-changer in the back here. So cool. And in the back, I'll just check. I don't want to get it dirty because it is in really good... I mean, it needs a little vacuum, but not much. It's got heated rear seats inside that centre armrest with 2 mahogany wood cup holders. We thought we'd found the key fob that was for the immobiliser and alarm, but it turns out what we think it is it's an aftermarket garage door opener that's been in the car with the previous owner who lived at a different address. We've opened up the actual Lexus key and lo and behold, there's no battery inside the key, which is the key that opens and closes the car. So we think that it needs a new battery. We've sent Callum off to find the battery. It's getting towards the end of the day. But in the meantime, we thought we'd put some extra fuel in it and we'll just see if we get another splutter or we can hear the fuel pump. So that's what we're going to do now, just because we're running out of options. Come on, man. No, that's definitely not even slightly firing, which means I'm sure it's immobilised. It's cut the electric fuel pump. That would figure, wouldn't it? There are a couple of other procedures that we can do which have been found on forums. So we're going to see if we can maybe follow a couple of those steps to kind of reprogram the car. We've got it written down on a piece of paper in there. But I'm really light on options for this. Callum's been pretty much all around Norfolk in the last hour or so, and he's found a key fob battery that fits. Jamie's gone in there and it's unlocked and unlocked the doors on the remote, which it hasn't done before. So we think it's going to start now because it was getting a spark before. Yep. When you guys took a plug out, we checked that it would. So all it needs is fuel. So sweepstake time. Alistair.
Yeah, it'll start.
Yes, I'm going to stay positive.
It's going to start. Yeah, it's going to start.
Yes, yeah. I've got to be positive. You, Jamie.
Yeah.
Yes, in there.
I'm here for it.
I'm surprised you can hear us in there because it is like a bank vault.
I've dropped the window now.
Oh, okay. Come on, Lexus, come on. I mean,
Lexus.
I can't possibly publish a video on YouTube that says Lexus doesn't start.
Ready?
No.
That's a completely dead. I think that might be the jump pack. Turn it on.
It's got a lot.
We've put couple
Probably
of gallons
12
in.
litres
Yeah.
of fresh in.
Well,
It's-
dash is back.
That means it's again. That means it's a fuel. It could be
Getting
a fuel pump.
through.
I mean, that's turning over nicely. No. I forgot about the 3D gauges.
Yeah, they're proper.
They're so good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like an anti-glare
Yeah.
3D spaceship. That is amazing. I'm really surprised. I'm surprised and slightly disappointed that we didn't get the 1UZ V8 running today. But what I hope this video has served as, if nothing else, is the fact that these are such good cars. They're an engineering masterpiece and they've been unloved for so many years, but I think their time is finally coming. This was the car that put Lexus on the map. Lexus aren't going anywhere in a hurry. If you like a 3-box saloon that just does everything really beautifully and is just kind of like elegant and a little bit retirement spec, LS400 is where it's at. Anyway, I want to say a big thank you to Alistair, to Callum, to Nathan and Jamie for letting me come along and dig this out. This car's now being loaded onto a trailer and it's going to be taken away. And who knows, if it starts in the next week or so, before this video goes live, we will put footage and proof out that it is running. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, I'd love you to subscribe. And if you'd like to get in contact with me about a car that you think is of interest, if you've got one in a hedge, in a garage, in a real barn, get in touch. There's a link in the description, an email address. Give me the details, some photos and a backstory. I'd welcome it. It was frustrating for me because I don't like to fail when I try and strike these cars up. But you just never know on the day whether the car's going to behave, whether it's going to need parts you don't have. There's 101 different things. But what I can say is that shortly after the guys took it home, in fact the week after they took it home, they tried the 6-minute reset hack. That didn't work, but then they took the back seat out, reached in and replaced the fuel pump, and boom, the car started up.
Yes.
What I've learnt about this barn find is it's reminded me how unbelievably good the LS400 car is. No, it's not flashy. No, it was never sold in wild colours. But it just confidently, quietly is one of the best cars that has ever been made. And for a couple of £1,000, it's almost rude not to own one at some point before your day is done. Thanks for watching.
There you go, Dad. That is the venerable Lexus V8 running once again, thanks to the efforts of these gents. And, hey Dad. Yeah, it begins.